No, I'm telling you. I stayed at Hollywood and Highland, one of the places that my wife and I had to live. I came out here, I told you, on a dare. I was at Yuck Yucks in Toronto, Canada, and we went to a comedy club, and they dared people to get up on stage. You know, they didn't dare. They said anybody who was an amateur wants to try this. You could try it, you know, Monday nights at midnight. And somebody at the table said, you should try it. And I went and tried it.
And you'd never done it before?
No. I did what I did, but not. If you look at the old YouTube, you probably put up one now, but if you look at the first specials I did and the first time I was on TV, the point was that I thought the joke, I don't think things through. And I thought the joke would be that somebody would go, ladies and gentlemen, Howie Mandel. There's no reason for me to be introduced anywhere and to be on a stage. And what happened, and I don't think of ramifications. That's part of my ADHD. You know, I just do it. And I think Nike does that too, but I just do it. So I said, I'll go up, but I didn't plan anything. I didn't have anything. And once somebody went, ladies and gentlemen, Howie Mandel, you know, I realized I'm in front of a microphone. There's all these people standing here. This is embarrassing. I better come up with something. And I got terrified, but in a wonderful way, the way you get terrified on a roller coaster. I love roller coasters. I love thrill rides. And then I saw all these people staring at me, and I started going, okay, all right. And then they start giggling at my nervousness of going, okay. And then I didn't know why they were giggling. And I'm going, what? No, tell me. Why are you laughing? Please don't laugh. It throws me off. And I was going, okay, what? And that became my act.
Just playing into the...
Well, just being scared, not understanding what was happening. And if you look at my old... I just put my hands in my pocket. And because I have OCD, and because when I was out in public, I didn't want to touch anything in a public restroom, I always carried rubber gloves. And I had a rubber glove, and I pulled it out of my pocket, and I didn't know what to do, and I pulled it over my head because it had nothing to do, and I blew it up with my nose, and it popped off my head, and the crowd roared, and I went, good night, and I ran off, and the guy who was the owner of the club, Mark Breslin, said, you got to come back tomorrow, and I go, why? What am I going to do? He goes, do that again. I go, what the was that? You know, and then there was things that I had funny voices, which later turned into Bobby's World and Gizmo and all those other things, and
God,
Muppet
so
Babies.
Crazy.
But I did that. I got that when I was a kid. I was choking on a piece of cake, and
that was the sound that came out
because I couldn't breathe, and it was like that's like when you take a balloon and you pull the nipple of it, and it goes. When it comes out like that. That's not my voice. I'm not talking like falsetto.
That's just there.
Dude.
Wow. So even if I lose my voice, I can talk like this perfectly for hours and hours and hours.
So, but I had that voice, and I would do that on stage, and people would just laugh at that. But what happened is, I came out here to California, and I started getting opportunities to do little jobs here and there. Because my friend who knew me from Yuck Yucks there, Mike Binder, who became a big director, writer, he put me on at the Comedy Store. Mitzi Shore saw me, and then they said, come out here. And I figured, just do it. I'm young. It's kind of like your story. I know your story. I don't need to, I'll bring it up on my podcast.
The generator story?
But I'm going to get to the generator story, but how you started and how you didn't even have coins to buy pizza, and you were doing things, and you said, is YouTube something? And I made $1. I said, you know what? I'm young. If this doesn't work out, I know how to sell. I know how to do business. I was engaged to be married. I said to my wife, Terry, let's just move out to California. Let's try. I don't know what this show business is. And I didn't have a lot of money. I came out here, and I got the room we stayed at. It was at Hollywood and Highland. It was the Holiday Inn. I got the room that had the motor for the revolving restaurant.
I knew there was a motor. But
I wasn't working on it. I didn't have to grease it.
I thought you made a deal with this guy for the room.
Nobody would. I did make a deal that nobody would stay in a room that had the engine for the revolving restaurant.
You never took a wrench, never nothing.
I've never taken a wrench to anything. I've never fixed anything. I'm not mechanical. I'm nothing like my son. My son, Alex here, built this entire studio you're in. He built my entire podcast. I can't even turn on the light. I don't know how to turn on I don't know how to turn on these cameras. That
He's actually never owned a computer.
No.
Well, you run a phone good.
No, I don't.
You figured out a phone.
How many times have you?
A few times a day.
Yeah.
You're TikToking more than most teenage girls.
He taught me how to.
Yeah.
But
you run your TikTok.
I do, but I have people that help me, that work with my son. But even TikTok, one day we're sitting in a restaurant, I think like 4 years ago, and he says, Dad, I said, yeah. He goes, just clap like this. 1, 2, 3. And I go, okay. And he videotaped me clapping like this, 1, 2, 3. And if you go look at my first TikTok, it's probably at about 10 million now, right?
Yeah, I think they cut out the audio though now, so
it's unavailable.
Yeah, but that was all he did. That's all we made him do, and it was.
And he shows me about an hour later, or about a day later, he shows me, he goes, look, 3 million people watch this. I go, what
wild
the
is
fuck? What the fuck did I do? Why are 3 million people watching me clap to this song? He goes, because it's trending. I go, what does that even mean that I'm trending? And like he told me, and he goes, and then he would go, Dad, dance like this. I go, okay. So I'm his little puppet. And he was telling me how to dance, what to do, and then now I'm up to 10.5 million people on TikTok, and I kind of have fun doing it. But it's not alone. I have a collaboration. There's a group of people here, everybody less than half my age, kind of telling me what works and what doesn't work. But I'm fascinated by that. My whole fuel in life, and it has always been, and I think this is the thing about aging. I think as you get older, your curiosity becomes less and less. When you're a kid, you watch TV, you look at you look at things online. You want to know what the style is, how kids are, what they're listening to, how they're dressing, what the latest trend is. You're really curious, and then you try to be like that. And then at a certain age, you don't care about what the new music is. You don't care about what the style is. And then you become an old person going,